When a big match between two massive teams is coming up, the fans spend days beforehand trash-talking each other, and the analysis begins. If the coach just subs in this player or starts that one, we'll definitely win. Then the match comes, it kicks off, and everyone's hyped up with their game night snacks ready. But they're shocked to find out that from the very first moment, the game is already over. You've been had. It was never 90 minutes. Far from it. Some fans might even lose hope after just 10 minutes. And today on this video, we're talking about those massive clashes we all waited for, expecting something huge, only for them to be over in a matter of minutes. We'll start with the most infamous of these shocking blowouts, Brazil versus Germany in the 2014 World Cup. Now, it's true Germany was coming off a win against France and was clearly hitting its stride, while Brazil had struggled against Chile and Colombia. And yes, they were missing Neymar. But Brazil was playing on their home turf in front of their own fans. The least you'd expect is for them to put up a fight. But the party started in the 11th minute. Thomas Müller scored the first goal, and we expected a Brazilian response, but nothing. They just watched the Germans pass the ball around. Then Miroslav Klose decided to twist the knife, scoring the second goal in the 23rd minute. This goal was historic for all the wrong reasons for the Brazilians, as it knocked their own legendary striker Ronaldo El Fenomeno off the top of the all-time World Cup top scorers list. Toni Kroos basically said, "Well, if it's this easy, let me get in on the action," and scored the third just a minute later. After that, the match was completely one-sided, all Germany. The only thing coming from Brazil was the tears of their fans. Other than that, nothing. It ended with a 7-1. This was a match that arguably has affected the mentality of the Brazilian national team to this day. A match that broke the Brazilians in their own stadium, in front of their own fans. A match where the Brazilians had to beg their conquerors to win the World Cup, just to stop Argentina from lifting the trophy in Brazil. And that's exactly what Germany did thanks to a goal from Götze. Let's move on to another game I personally remember. For days beforehand, it was all anyone could talk about. Barcelona versus Real Madrid in Mourinho's first El Clásico. Barcelona was in second place, but Real Madrid was leading the league. They were incredibly strong. Madrid had just crushed Athletic Bilbao 5-0, and Barca had annihilated Almeria 8-0. So everyone said, this is it, the epic showdown. They're going to tear each other apart. This is going to be a balanced, hard-fought match. Most logical predictions at the time called for a draw. Both teams were, simply put, on fire. The match kicked off, and the Real Madrid players had no idea what to do. They were completely lost against Pep's tiki-taka. They couldn't get a handle on Messi. They couldn't contain Xavi or Iniesta. In the 9th minute, a pass from Iniesta to Xavi led to Barcelona's first goal. Real Madrid had no response, just a few desperate attempts from Ronaldo. Then, in the 17th minute, David Villa set up Pedro for the second. After that, David Villa took care of the third and fourth goals himself, completely destroying Real Madrid. The destruction was made complete when Suarez, a young up-and-comer that most people hadn't even heard of, scored the fifth. It was one of Mourinho's toughest nights, and one of Cristiano Ronaldo's toughest nights. We waited days for this match, and it was effectively over in 17 minutes. After that, it was just a festival of goals, a torture session for Real Madrid inflicted by Barcelona. Many people expected this match to break Mourinho, Ronaldo, and Real Madrid, but to their credit, they were strong enough to bounce back. But what goes around comes around. We all know that rule, and it came back to haunt Barcelona. In August 2020, it was Bayern Munich versus Barcelona in the Champions League. It was a strange, bizarre Champions League held in Lisbon, Portugal, without fans, and with single-leg knockout ties. Everyone thought, well, with Messi and Suarez on the pitch, Barcelona has a chance. Why not? Everyone was stunned when, in just the 4th minute, Thomas Müller, a specialist in these devastating results, scored the first goal. Barcelona had an immediate response, equalizing in the 7th minute via an own goal from Alaba. We thought, all right, here we go. Barcelona is in this fight. But that equalizer just seemed to make Bayern angry, and maybe Barca wishes they hadn't scored it. Because after that, the goals rained down. Perisic scored the second in the 22nd minute, then Gnabry got the third in the 27th, and Thomas Müller came back for another just 4 minutes later, scoring the fourth in the 31st minute. The score was 4-1, and Barcelona was completely unable to keep up with Bayern Munich. On that day, Bayern scored in every way imaginable. Any player who wanted a goal got one. The match ended 8-2. This was a game that deeply affected Barcelona's morale in Europe, breaking them for years and making other teams feel that Barca could always be beaten on the European stage. After all, Bayern had just thrashed them 8-2. This match was most likely the reason why Joan Laporta later appointed Hansi Flick as Barcelona's manager. He saw his terrifying power firsthand. Let's go back to the international stage. Let's go to Euro 2012, specifically to a night some call the last great night of the terrifying tiki-taka. It was the final between Italy and Spain. Now, Spain hadn't been completely dominant in the tournament. They'd had some struggles on their way to the final, even needing a penalty shootout to get past Portugal. Italy, on the other hand, had just beaten a very strong German side. Italy had a fearsome midfield quartet, the maestro Pirlo, alongside Montolivo, De Rossi, and Marchisio, who were all having a fantastic tournament. And they had Thiago Motta on the bench. Everyone expected Italy, with its powerful midfield, to challenge Spain's tiki-taka, especially since Spain was playing without a traditional striker. They had Fabregas, Iniesta, and David Silva up front, and people thought, without a striker, Spain is going to struggle. But then David Silva scored the first goal, and it soon became clear that Italy had no answer for Spain's tiki-taka that night. Spain crushed Italy 4-0. We don't remember many details of Italy's resistance other than a few long shots. It's a match that reminds everyone of the blessing of 5 substitutions we have today, because Thiago Motta came on in the 57th minute, only to get injured 4 minutes later and have to leave the pitch. Coach Cesare Prandelli had already used all 3 of his substitutions, so Italy had to play the last half hour with 10 men. It's also a match everyone remembers for that moment when Iker Casillas told the referee, once normal time was up, to just end the match. That there was no need for stoppage time. He said it out of respect for an Italian side that had completely surrendered. The Italians were shocked by the massive gap in quality that had opened up between Spanish and Italian football at that time. Everyone saw how Spain completely dominated the game from start to finish. It was a one-sided affair. And the final match is one we've all witnessed recently. And I mention it because I don't know when you might be watching this video, maybe in a year, 2 or 3, so I'm reminding you of it in case you missed it. It was the 2025 Champions League final, and Inter was coming in hot, having knocked out giants like Barcelona and Bayern Munich. Paris, on the other hand, had a tough road, struggling against Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Arsenal. Everyone thought that Inter tactically could shut Paris down, that they had a real chance if they just focused. But Inter came onto the pitch and looked completely lost. They had no idea how Paris was moving or how they were attacking. Hakimi scored the first goal in the 12th minute after a pass from Doy, and then Doy, who was the star of the match, scored the second in the 20th minute from a Dembélé assist. Inter could only watch as chances went by and goals went into their net. Inter did nothing. After the match, they didn't know what hit them, and their fans were criticizing every player, including Lautaro Martinez. Some were saying, "Where are you when we need you in the big games?" In that match, Paris asserted its dominance and won the treble. In that match, Dembélé won the Ballon d'Or. In that match, Luis Enrique was named the best coach in the world. In that match, Paris was on track to win a historic sextuple. In fact, they might have had the chance to win a historic septuple, something no one else would likely ever achieve if it weren't for Chelsea beating them in the Club World Cup final that same year. These are the kinds of matches that happen often in soccer. You can prepare for them, the coach can prepare, the players can prepare, but it just takes one mistake, perhaps one tactical slip-up, or one team letting you down mentally on a day you least expect it. And suddenly, that summit we were all waiting for turns into a stain of shame that sticks to one of the teams. Because the games and names I've mentioned are still used by the winning fans to taunt the losers to this day. We beat you 5-0. We beat you 7-1, or even 8-0, 2 inches. That's soccer. No matter how much you try to predict it, something will come along and shock you. You expect a competitive match and it's over before it begins. You expect an easy game and it goes down to the 90th minute. That's soccer, and that's the beauty of it. And that brings us to the end of this video. As always, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video if you would. Thank you so much, and goodbye.